Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Lorenzo. Um, I'm I'm a campus director for the University of Hong Kong. And I'm from Ireland. I'm just coming here today to give you a big welcome to the Millennium Fellowship. We're here with Ali alum, and we're really excited to do like this amazing interview and talk so much about his like amazing journey through through life and every like amazing thing he's managed to do. So I wanted to just quickly start off with introducing my path into the Millennium Fellowship. So I'm mainly focused on issues around socioeconomic rights and civil rights. So the way I got sort of inspired into joining the Millennium Fellowship is that in the future, I have ambitions of becoming a human rights lawyer, someone who works to push the boundaries of socioeconomic rights, to try platform people towards amazing goals, to try bring equitable solutions towards people who are just missing out on so much in life. And that's the main reason why I sort of want to get into human rights. And when I saw the Millennium Fellowship, this opportunity, I was absolutely amazed. I saw the potential to really make an absolute impact on the world, on society. And when I saw that, I was filled with so much passion and enthusiasm. So on my journey to Hong Kong University, I began to research it, began to get really enthusiastic about it. And just everything I heard about it was so awe-inspiring. So now that I'm part of the Millennium Fellowship and I'm a campus director with my lovely cohort at Hong Kong, some of you will hopefully be here too. I'd love to mention my cohort. They're the loveliest people, honestly, like the kindest, most enthusiastic, sweetest people with amazing projects. Um, I'd love to just say that thank you for inviting me to moderate this speech. To finally meet you, Ellie. You're honestly a massive inspiration to me. I know I was picked to interview you today, but I've actually known about you for a decent while, and just everything you've done is just honestly so enthusing. Like when I heard I was interviewing you, I was honestly stunned. So thanks so much for being here. Um, but honestly, I've been talking about myself enough. I'd love to ask for people in the chat, everyone in the call, if they want to, if they feel comfortable, to please introduce yourself, to share your story about how you became inspired and impassioned in the Millennium Fellowship. Because for me, it means a great deal um, changing the world, having the capacity to improve things, because we all go through so much on a daily basis. We've all been through such unique experiences and overwhelming tribulations. And to me, I think this is a real opportunity to use everything that we've gone through, every difficulty, and just help change society for the better moving forward into the future. So if anyone wants to raise their hand in the chat, if you feel comfortable, and unmute, and we can have a bit of a chat, maybe introduce yourself and talk about what inspires you and why you joined the Millennium Fellowship. I would absolutely love that. Thank you. But while we're thinking about that, I'm just going to read a little bit of the chat and see who's here today, how everyone's doing. Maria Rios from Mexico, thank you so much for being here. Carol from Uganda, thank you so much. Michelle from Strathmore, thanks so much for being here. So many people here today. Thanks so much for joining, everyone, honestly. Oh, Elizabeth, if you'd like to unmute and talk about your journey towards the Millennium Fellowship, I would love to hear you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Mthali from Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. It is of great pleasure joining or being part of Millennium Fellowship. I believe that in everything we do, we end up doing something on making the society a better place for everyone. So what inspired me to apply for Millennium Fellowship is I was so interested in connecting with fellow students across the globe and the mentorship. Yeah, I'm hoping to grow in my leadership journey in making the society a better place. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for that, Elizabeth. That was so impassioned, honestly. Um, yeah, I feel the exact same way. Like it's so invigorating being here, having this opportunity. Like just my project, I feel especially proud about. Um, because I care a lot about sustainability. I care a lot about people who suffer through socioeconomic hardships, people who are in marginalized communities that don't get the same opportunities in life just because of the way they were born. So for me, I also want to tackle the same issues and ameliorate the same things. Um, but hearing that coming from other people, it's why I joined this project, honestly. And it makes me so happy to hear that too. If anyone else wants to unmute and talk about why they're inspired, Jimmy from Rwanda. Thanks so much for being here. Man, thanks so much for being here. All right, lovely. All right, thanks for that. I think we might get started. Ali, if you want to come to the stage and make some statements, introduce yourself.
Mm. Absolutely, Lorenzo. Thank you very much for the warm welcome. And I'm really very inspired by some of what I heard from the fellows. I want to thank the MCM and United Nations Academic Impact for launching this fellowship. And I've known of it for, I think it's about a year since I started roughly my project as well. And Ariel reached out. And so inspirational to see so many people from around the world coming together just to focus on creating something of impact. And, as you mentioned, Lorenzo, you have a dream to go into human rights. I know so many people involved here have some dream to do something for the world, something better to make things better. So I'm really, really, really astonished that out of almost like 50,000 plus applications from 3,000 campuses, like 4,000 have been selected. That is a big number. Do you realize how special and unique that is? It's people around the world are working towards a better world, a better good around sustainable development goals, and you are the 4,000 that have been selected for this. I just want to take a moment and want all of you to kind of clap for yourself because it is exceptional. You absolutely deserve this. And it's so, so important to kind of give yourself a tap in the back because you made the action. You took the first action to apply to realize, hey, there is a difference that you want to create. There's a difference that you can. Great. So I'm really looking forward today to being able to add a little value to your life in terms of impact, share about a bit about my story of how I started into this journey. But also, I'm going to leave with the three very practical action points that you can take away from my journey and that hopefully you can apply to get further. So with that, if I may share my screen and kick off.
Oh, Ali, actually, if you don't mind, I'd actually like to give you a bit of an introduction because I know some people here may not have heard about you before, heard all the inspiring things you've done. So it's like I'd like to,
Go
build
for
you up
it.
a little bit,
Go for it right away. Yes. I'll be talking a bit about it as well, but I really want to focus on the fellows and the amazing work they're going. Go for it, Lorenzo.
Of course, yeah. So, Ali, you are an award-winning entrepreneur and a 21st century educationalist with a passion for transforming the landscape of entrepreneurial education. Your journey began at the age of 17 when you launched your first startup, laying the foundation for a career dedicated to innovation and impact. You were driven by a philosophy that connected the dots across natural, human, tech, and entrepreneurial ecosystems. You've believed that humans are inherently meant to create and solve problems. You foster unity through the exchange of diverse ideas and perspectives, and you inspire others to join you in this mission. I am so proud to be able to just talk to you today about everything you've done. So, as an architect of synthesis, an entrepreneurial and innovation hub for underrepresented changemakers, you were at the forefront of a paradigm shift in entrepreneurship education. You were dedicated to empowering young changemakers to tackle global challenges aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, supporting over 5,000 students from 120 countries. Your innovative approach has raised over 5 million to enable entrepreneurs and startups to thrive in an ever-changing world. Your hands-on involvement extends far beyond funding. You pioneer innovative programs, you forge strategic partnerships, and you integrate entrepreneurship into the educational curricula. You craft gamified and experiential educational programs designed for immersive learning and ensuring students are equipped with the skills necessary for the 21st century. Everything you've done is an absolute monument and a testament to advancing so many issues for so many key people. And I'd like to give you a heartfelt thanks for all of it.
Many thanks, Lorenzo, for the wonderful introduction. I'm so humble, taken aback just hearing some of those words. I have to almost pinch myself, like, what? I did that? And it's very unreal. And I think with that, I'd love to sort of dive into, I know the thematic focus is on sustainability and how young people in their journey of social impact can build sustainable solutions into the pressing issues we have in humanity. And I know we all here have a dream. So all of this that you've heard from Lorenzo, of what I've done, what I do and how I do it, started from a dream of mine as well. And with that, I'm gonna go right in. I hope you can all see my screen and follow along. Yep. Brilliant. Today's topic, what I'm going to share is a little flashback on what I did, but talk more about what you can do. So it's very simple. How do you build your dream life and get paid for it? Because it is very tough in this world. When you come from underrepresented background and you want to make a difference, you also have to put food on the table. A lot of us started working at a very young age, I can imagine, and a lot of us want to do a lot, but if you don't have the monetary needs to be able to survive and if you feed yourself, you won't be able to achieve that. So people look at money in the wrong way, and that's what I'm here to kind of tell you, that you can do it in a way where you build a dream life, where you build a dream, a better world, and get paid for it. So I want all of you for a moment just to close your eyes. Just take a second and imagine a better world. A world where there's no poverty, there's no war, no sickness. A world where everyone has access to education. A world where you don't have to worry about getting your next food or going to the next village to get water. A world where you all have access to technology and innovation to be able to make a difference. Now, you see, I want you to open your eyes now and really think. None of you thought of a dream, a better world, which could lead to worse things. And I want you to kind of think of that, because all of us, when we thought about a better world, we think of better things. So I asked you guys a question beforehand. Many of you filled it in. I won't be able to get deep dive into it. But I asked, do you have a dream? And most of you said yes. One person said no, and I really hope by the end of this talk that we can get you to have a dream, because it's so important to dream. If you don't dream, you won't be able to take the first action. And then I went on to ask you what your dreams are. And to be honest, I was just taken aback, because it's all beautiful stuff. Some of the answers are, I want to be a lawyer and set right things into society. I wish to create avenue for young minds, special children can discover nurture culture, to be successful climate change advocate, to be wealthy, to become a better person for impacting lives and making social impact, to make South Sudan green, to create a global impact, to make life and help people better, to create a world where equitable access to education, resources, and opportunities empower individuals. It is all so beautiful stuff. And none of you see, when we ask you what your dreams are, go, hey, I want to go out and throw some rubbish or want to make the world worse. We all think of a better world naturally. What I've realized in life is inherently we all want a better world, a world where there is impact. We all want to help others, help ourselves become better. Now, when you close your eyes and you're thinking of a better world, a lot of you might have thought of a point where you were helping other people, making that difference. And that is a very fulfilling thing. Humans feel the most self-fulfilled and actualized and empowered when we make impact, when we help other people. So you all have beautiful dreams. And that's what I'll talk about today, that these dreams and this focus on impact comes so naturally from within you. How can you use this and how can you leverage the fact that all of us want to make a better world to actually take the step to be able to do it? Right? So stick around to find out what it is about dreams, but most importantly, how you'll get paid for it. See, I'm Ali. I'm the founder and chief impact officer of multiple startups. I started my journey when I was 17 at a very young age, but actually goes way further back. I dropped out of school when I was 12. I was born in 2000, 3 a.m. It was a weird time. I think my mom woke up and was always like, "You're a nightmare baby," because I'm always a night owl because I was born really, really early in the morning. Over my past, I've trained and ran for 3 marathons. Now I've got knee pain. I wish I had trained better, so I don't recommend it. I used to listen to David Goggins. Not the best ideal. He's a bit too optimistic of things. I made my first 100K when I was 18 years old. I'll tell you a bit about that, on how that worked. Completely out of impact. It was not something I was aiming for. Over the last few years, I've consulted with Fortune 500 companies to help them focus on impact and change their business models to represent diversity and underrepresentation. I've lived, grew up, and worked across 4 countries. Those are born in Pakistan, so I know there's a few Pakistani fellows here as well. So salam alaikum to everyone there. I lived in Malaysia, so salam pagi, whoever's there, love to interact with you. Grew up in the UK, and now I'm in Germany for the last over 4 years. I built 3 startups to date. 2 of them I've scaled and exited. One of them failed terribly. I'll tell you a bit about it. I think it's very interesting to know what and why. I dropped out of school at the age of 12 because I always was found more out of class than in class. I was not someone who would just sit down and try and take notes and read. I wanted to get out there and do stuff. I was a very hands-on experiential person. And when I dropped out, both my dad, who's a quantum physicist, my mom's a data scientist, I grew up university, they're like, hey, we can try homeschool. So I was building my own curriculum. I still had semester sister. One semester I was like, I want to do carpentry. The next semester I was like, oh, do you know what? I want to know what quantum physics is. I was only 12 or 13. And then because I lived in university campuses, my parents were professors, I would go crash university classes. And to be honest, people never judged because people were too busy. You know, professors would just see a little kid at the back of the class, like, I don't know who he is, but welcome to class. And I would take notes. And I learned from some of the best, from Oxford University to NUS. And sooner or later, I got to a point where I was freelancing at the age of 16. My mom taught me Excel. I was working for Amazon, managing a bunch of 40 years old as a project manager when I was only 16. And that was, to be honest, very daunting. I don't know how I did it, but I imagine and I can remember a lot of 40-year-olds getting back to me and be like, who are you? What are you doing? Like, how dare you tell us what to do? And I learned that age was something that people discriminated against, but also was the background. But most importantly, because I was so focused on results, when results were coming, people were very happy. So after 2 years in the corporate life, working with Fortune 500 companies, I dropped out. I was like, no, I want to make impact. I want to get out there. I want to build something. Naturally, going back to my school ages, I was out there to create. And I realized my big nemesis was the education system because I didn't like how it was set up. I felt like it restricted our creativity. It didn't allow us to fully immerse ourselves and feel empowered in what we want to do. So I wanted to go out there, create a platform for children, for students, for teenagers, where instead of asking, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? We ask the question, what problem do you want to solve in this world? And that switch in perspective changed everything. That was when I launched my first startup, which was Protagonist Pro. And the idea was we help teenagers become protagonists of their life, define their why, what they need to do, and how they create an impact. And we use games to do that. It ended up being so well that IBM came in and said, hey, we want you to use this for our employees. And I was like, wait, this is for teens by teens, and you want us to use this for your employers, for really old people, aristocrats, live around the world? Sure, why not? And we tried a version of that, and it worked, bingo. And then they ended up buying us over, and it got acquired. And that was the first startup that I succeeded. I realized a lot from that journey, which was no matter what age you're at, games are so important for you to help you find a better way to create. So I started gamifying my life. I would put credit points, I would, do delayed gratification for certain things. Life started becoming fun. And I had the most fun in building this project. It was not as painful as every entrepreneur said it was because I was gamifying things. Now, today, that's just one of the projects that I did that I got paid for, but I had no intention at all of doing it. I'll tell you how that worked out. Further on, I started, and like I said, first startup was 17. I went on and did something. I've been speaking for over the last 4 or 5 years, doing workshops to 5,000 plus entrepreneurs, young change makers like you, and old Fortune 500 CEOs who are very stuck in their life because they realize they have a lot of money, but they don't have an impact. They don't have a purpose. So they come to people like me to try and understand how can we make a difference. Today, I really want to use one story to describe a dream I had and how I got paid for it. At the age of 16, I was in Pakistan, in Himalayas, and I was going by car, crossing over, and I saw these beautiful mountains that you see on the top right. And I was like, I want to see this. I want to see this at my own pace. I don't want to be in a car. We just drove by. So when we came back home, I was in Malaysia, I told my mom, hey, I want to go back to Pakistan and I want to ride. I wanted to take it all in. I wanted to go on a journey, but I realized walking, I didn't like too much. Cycling, I could do would be a bit past the pace. I had not cycled. I was not a cyclist still then. So I got a cycle, a very cheap one, by putting my own money together. Cost me about $50 at that age. And I started practicing. And in 6 months, I knew it was the perfect temperature in summer to go to Himalayas and try ride the biggest and highest road in the world. My dream was I just wanted to go there, ride these mountains, and showcase what is capable, what I can do as a person. I wanted to manifest it, everything that I had done. I had no money in my pocket. I had $100 saved up. This was a good 3 to 4 month journey if I wanted to start throughout the mountains. I had no security. I had no food, no idea on how to do an extreme adventure. And obviously, my parents were like, no, this is not happening. Like, of course not. Not. What are you thinking? You're only 16. You're not going to leave, go to a country, try and do something. You have no idea. You barely cycled for 2 months. Me being the way I was and being a rebellion, I was like, well, I'll keep going and see how far I get. I've got $100, so maybe you pay for my flight and the rest I can cover. For $100, I probably get across for like 1 week, 10, 20, 30, 40 kilometers. And I was like, well, we'll see where we get, and then I'll come back, right? At least I'll know to prove to myself that I tried. I don't have that regret. But I realized, you know what? I really need to do something. So I started reaching out to governments. I started writing handwritten letters that you see here, and I wrote 584 handwritten letters. All of these are personalized to prime ministers, to United Nations, to ambassadors, to European Union. I wrote to ministers in Pakistan. I wrote to the tourism industry personally saying, hey, I have a dream where I want to go out, ride in the mountains, and show that young kids are capable of doing so much. And While I do that, I want to plant on the way. So you see on this bike, I have the carrier in the back. I had pots of little plant that I wanted to do. Little seeds, I wanted to create a whole plant movement. I wanted everyone to start bike cycling because I fell in love in cycling in the 2 months that I got involved in it, training for this. And to be honest, I heard no response. Out of the 584, so randomly written letters, emails, personalized, I only got, guess how many responses do you think I got from it? Any guesses? Lorenzo, what do you think?
I'm honestly in shock. That's remarkable. Like, how many letters did you write?
I ended up writing 500 letters and 84 emails.
500. That must have taken you forever. Like,
I did. I
like
did.
at least 100 responses, right?
No,
Like,
I did not. I did not. So I got to my letters 5 responses and to my emails 2 responses. Out of the 584, I only got 7 responses. And out of the 7 responses, I had 3 meetings set up. One was with the Prime Minister, one was with the Ambassador of UN, and one was with a cycling company that was willing to sponsor my helmet, a GoPro camera for me to record it, and basically energy drinks that I would need, energy bars throughout my journey. They were willing to sponsor that whole thing. Now I go to these meetings and sit down and I say, hey, look, I'll be honest. I'm completely devastated right now. Thank you very much for your time. You're like the 580th person, that responded out of the 584 things I sent out. And we talked and they were like, look, we love what you're doing. We love the spirit. I'm going to connect you to this person from a tourism industry. They'll sponsor the whole tour. They'll make sure you have rest places. Here's a camp. You do this. We have media come in and we cover everything. And I was like, okay. And this is literally 2 weeks before my actual tour. So I was ready. I still had $100 in my pocket. I had my flight to Pakistan and I was ready to go in and do it. And I was like, this 2 weeks before I get the response, I have the meeting 2 days later. A week later, I get no response. And I'm like, okay, this is not happening. I suppose I'm just going to go in, write for like one town and then kind of give up. I had over 5,800 kilometers to do the whole tour. And it goes up to 6,000 meters. That's how high it was. It's the highest road in the world, in the mountains, the highest border. It's crazy because cars going up start coming down. That's how extreme it gets. And I was on a bike. So 2 weeks before I get the response, I get the meeting up. I go in and they're like, all good. We're going to support you. We're going to make it happen. And then I hear no response. And I've got 1 week and I'm going to fly. And I'm like, well, so at that point, the cycling company that was supporting me, I had a new a helmet, like proper helmet. I had proper gear for the extreme tour. This cycle that you see, I put together. I built from different cycle parts. A friend of mine who's a cyclist helped me put it together. I didn't have money to afford it. I had no money. My parents were not willing to support me because they were like, this guy's crazy. We can't enable this. But I was determined. It's like, what's the worst? It spins, it moves, we'll make it happen. And then, yeah, literally a week to go, I get the email from the minister saying, hey, we're going to get all the tourism industry. Here's the contact. They're going to support you. I set a call up on the airport. I've never pitched to anyone in my life. I'm a 16-year-old kid who's just got a crazy dream. And I'm like, I don't even know what I need to know about this tour. And they called me up. They're like, this is the places you're going to go. This is the areas you're going to stop. And this is how you could, we can help you connect. There's a local village here. It's going to be hard to reach. We don't have a camp there, but maybe you want to try and see if people will support you. I was like, well, okay, that's just 1 or 2 nights. I have to stay at a local village. I'm sure people will welcome me. Somehow I ended up doing this journey. I was on the road for 3 months. It was all recorded. I came back, and when I reached back to the main city, we basically had over 4,000 or 5,000 people from all around, including these ministers, welcoming me and recording and giving, hey, congratulations on making this happen. I go back and I have to kind of pinch myself and tell my parents, hey, did that just happen? Did I just make that happen? And they were like, you're a crazy guy. Like I have whatever you put together, this is, you need that passion and a vision to do it. So I had a dream, I had an impact related to it, and I did a process that I went through it. And I've done this for Every project, every startup I built after that, every job I've got, I've done it afterwards. All of them I've got paid for because I learned something throughout this, and that's what I'm about to share with you. The number one thing you need when you start a journey and you have a dream is to define your why. When I started and I said, hey, I'm going to do the cycling journey, my why was one, to prove that young kids are capable of so much more than what people think they are. Because I was always told I'm too young to do something. Second, I wanted, and I realized at that point, climate change was a big issue. I wanted to go out and make a little difference and plant trees. And in a country like Pakistan, planting is not a popular thing at all. So I had to make it a trend. How do I do that? Well, a young kid riding in the highest road in the world on a bike was a pretty cool idea to make that trend kick off, because after that, we had the Ministry of Climate Change start a billion tree tsunami. So they have a project called the Billion Tree Tsunami where they're planting a billion trees because of that. And then I was like, mostly I want to do this to prove to myself that I can do a lot more. So I had a very clear why. I wanted to make an impact. I wanted young people to know what they can do. And I wanted people to go towards planting trees and cycling instead of using motorcycles or cars, a more sustainable way. So you need to start with your why. Your why is a compass to where you need to go. Now, all of you here in this call, 4,000 plus Millennium Fellows that have been selected, you have a dream, you have a project you want to do, but what is your why? What is the bigger concept that you want to achieve out of this? Define that clearly. That is so important. And list it down. What is the top one? What is the second? What is the third why? You can have multiple whys. But if you don't have that, you don't really know where you're going. You have a cool idea, you have a cool concept, you have great people around you. Understand why is it you want to do what you want to do, not what, not how. I will tell you exactly the what and the how here, but the why is so important. So that's what I started with. Every project, every startup that I built, every time I wanted to work with a company, I would start with my why. I would say, why do I want to do this? And once I knew that, I could tell people clearly why I wanted to work with them or why I would like them to pay for one thing I wanted to do. Because if I can't tell them why would someone pay for it? It wouldn't work. So start by defining your why. The second thing you need is to partner up. Now, obviously, I have a dream and I have ambition and I have an idea, but I don't have the money to do it. Someone's got to pay for it, right? But payment doesn't all come in money form. For example, the cycling tour, I got a helmet from one cycling startup and I got a bike light and a GoPro from GoPro. They didn't pay me for it, but they gave me devices they could. I partner up with them, right? You need to learn to partner up and find the right people out there that can support you. You cannot get to your dream life and be able to achieve it on your own. Community is so important. It's so important to tap into the people around you. All of you here, there's 4,000 of you out there. Fine, I'm sure at least there's going to be one person out of the 4,000 that can help you get to that next step right now. You've not even thought of it, but there is. And there's 4,000 other people outside like me that are coming here to do this speeches, to resonate with what you do, that have an ambition on impact, that are willing to help you. Reach out, find those right people. You need to partner up. How do you do that? There's a couple of things. I use the phenomena called the Big Five for life. Now, many of my African friends here might know that the Big Five for Africa are basically, if I get it right, the lion, the buffalo, the tiger, and then there's two others. But like there's five animals that if you go to Africa, you see them in a safari, you really lived your life, right? That's what you want to aim for. Now, why don't you have a big five for life for yourself? What are the big five for life that you would like to do? It's kind of like a bucket list, but we niche it down. Instead of 1,000 things, you write down the top big five. Once you have that, go talk to people and publicly be very loud about it. Tell them what your big five for life are. I was calling everyone I could. I was writing letters to everyone I could. 584 of them before I got any responses. Tell them, because you will find people who will have similar big five for life or the same. And when they have the same big five for life and you do too, or at least they have one of the big five, this is who you're going to partner up with. So for example, Lorenzo wants to get into human rights. I studied law for a year. I dropped out, didn't finish it, but I studied law for a year. So I can give him a lot about what it is like to be a lawyer, if he wants to go to London or whatnot. But I can help him get to the next step because I've gone through that journey. A part of my life was very similar. A part of my dream is to make justice and impact happen. And it was through the legal route. Now, I'm sure there's people out there who are legal lawyers focused on impact human rights that Lorenzo can reach out to because they have the same dream. Now, instead of going parallelly, why doesn't Lorenzo find that person and then work with them? So once you partner up, you find the right people that are willing to support you. Now, they can support you with mentorship. You need a lot of that. They can support you with advice. They can support you with material, depending on what you do. For example, for my bike trip, I needed a kit. I needed hotel rooms. I needed a cab. I needed money for the food. All of that, I got completely out of partners. I didn't pay out of my pocket because I only had $100. I still had the $100 by the end of it, by the way. I never ended up spending it. Because I got so much sponsorship money, a lot of it I made profit out. And then I put that all in charity because I had nothing to do with it. I didn't need all that money because I had fulfilled my purpose. So I put it in charity for other people to be able to achieve their dreams. But that was so important. I found the partners that understood my dream, that wanted to support that dream. Couple of ways to do it. You can see people that are also in the early stage. I usually look at smaller companies that are trying to achieve something big, that have the same values as I do, and that maybe have one or two same big five for life. Reach out to them, drop them a text, and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I really resonate with what you're doing. I think you can help me out. Do you think you can support me here? Simple as that. You partner up and you will get way further. And these are the people that will end up paying for you. Because I ended up raising 100K just for that bike tour. It was way more than I ever needed. So this is the second step you need to do, but you need to know your why, and then you need to partner up. I'll be loud. Write. Go to LinkedIn, write about what you were doing, why you were doing it. Call people, tell them, speak, go to events, dance in public if you have to get attention, draw. There's honestly so many ways. I mean, we see so many TikTokers nowadays just dancing and getting publicity for something they want to achieve. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong for standing up for yourself and the 5 big things you want to achieve for your dream. You're doing this for a bigger dream, which is to create a better world, because that's what your dream is for. It's a better world. Be loud about it. Now, I want to take just a minute. We all have someone in our network right now, I assure you, that can help us get one step closer to our dream. Who is it for you? I want you to pull out your phones and text them right now. We're going to take a minute. Just text them right now and say something as simple as, hi, I'm XYZ. If they're a stranger, I really resonate with what you're doing, and mention what it is. I would love to learn from you. Can we get on a call? Even better, you can drop a question. I'd like to know how you managed to get into law in, I don't know, UCL, and what you think about human rights. I want you to take a minute. Whatever your dream is, there is someone in your network right now that can help you get to that one next step. So let's take a minute. It's 45. At 46, we'll pause. I want you to go ahead and text them right now. All of you. And you know what? While you do it, pulling out my phone, and I know someone who can help me get to my next dream. So I'm going to do the same. Just to showcase that this is not all talk, we actually walk the talk.
Who are you thinking of texting, Ali?
There's a guy named Sebastian Riz. is working on a venture studio that I want to text. He's focusing on building an impact-focused venture studio, and one of my dream right now is to help people create startups or businesses that are focused on impact. And I think he can really help me out, or I can learn a lot from him. So I'm gonna text him.
In the meantime, Ali, can fellows text you in the chat if they're seeing you as the next person who can help them achieve that dream?
If you text me and I can help you out, go for it. All right, that's my text gone. I've just sent it to Sebastian. They don't feel respond, but there it goes. This is so important. So now you know, you define your why, then you know to partner up. How to partner up? Very simple. List down your big five for life. What are the big five things you want to do? And then find people out there that resonate with it, that are doing something similar or that can support you, and then be very loud about it. We're immigrants. We come from diverse, underrepresented backgrounds. People don't hear us. You have to scream. And that's why if you have to get out there and dance, go and dance. It's very important. So now we know the first two steps, but what is the third step? Third step is very important because you will give up very early. 584 letters and emails is a lot to do. I have a time lapse of writing those, and I can remember at some point I was like this, pulling my hair, thinking, oh my God, this is not working. You know, I personalized each and every one of them. I was like, what if I just spam message them? It wouldn't work. Step 3 is about you have to keep on learning. And it's so important because there is no such thing as failure, only lessons learned. Never have I ever, in any of the projects that I did and how far I've gotten in life, that I think, oh, I failed. It was rather, oh, now I know that this doesn't work and I know how it would work and I would go and apply it on the next project that I did. You need to have the growth mindset. Instead of asking yourself, can I do it? Ask yourself, how can I do it? What you tell yourself, the dreams you have and the thoughts, they turn into action. And this is so crucial. So if I was not learning from every letter I was sending, I would not even have got those 5 responses because I would have been repeating the same mistake again and again and again and again. I never thought of it as failure. I just thought, okay, this way doesn't work, out of the way. This way doesn't work, out of the way. After 500 iterations, I found a way that worked, and bingo, it made me get to the dream that I wanted to do. So change and reframe your perspective. You're not going to fail. This is not failure. What are you going to fail in? Life is beautiful. It's about learning. Every time you see yourself sit back, reframe the perspective and look at it. Hey, I've just learned how it doesn't work. That is so amazing because there's so many people out there that are still reading notes and taking stuff and hoping and dreaming, but not doing anything. But you're out there taking the action that is needed to make this happen. You're being loud and you're learning. So there's no such thing as failure, only lessons learned. And if you keep on learning and if you don't realize it's working, you go back to define your why. And you define your why again, and you have to niche it down. And then you partner up, and then you go. And if it doesn't work, you go back to define your why, because this is a cycle of life. It's all about iteration, and you have to learn how to do this. And in your projects, you'll see that. So being mindful of time as well, I really want to say this is so important. We talked about the 3 steps to do it. We talked about the journey. We talk about impact, and all of us are here to make the world a better place. Now, why would people out there help you? Because remember what I said earlier when I showed you the results of the dreams you had? You all had beautiful dreams. You all wanted to do something better. You see, if you align with your purpose and you build strong partnerships, you will grow through every challenge. If you impact the world, and the world will support you in return. They will pay you for it. I have 5 other crazy things, 3 startups that I can tell you about that I got completely paid for from the start without an investment. I've repeated this enough times to know that it works. And that's why I wanted to really boil down. Hey, it sounds like almost like a no-brainer, but it's so important because we don't think of it like that. We keep deviating. Focus on the impact, the bigger picture, the big 5 differences you're going to have in life, and see the support from the world come to you. People will literally text you when you write out. I've had thousands of people when I started building synthesis reach out and say, we love what you're doing. We like your focus on underrepresented entrepreneurs. Can I support? I was like, yes, please help mentor them. I'm only one person. I had so many people get into our circle just because of that. I never asked for it. I just wrote about what I was doing. I was loud. And I found the right people. And I reached out to the right people as well who aligned with it. So impact the world and the world will support you in return. Now, life moves pretty fast. You need to start by taking action and trusting the process. It's so important. And that's why I made you, right in the middle of my speech, take the first section, which is send that message. Because I know a lot of you would be taking notes, maybe screenshots of this and going home and like, wow, so inspired, so energized. I loved your talk, Ali. That means nothing if you have not taken the action. You have to take the action. So start by taking the action and trust the process, because the process will lead you to it. Now, you asked me how to build a dream life. I told you the big why. I told you to define the big 5, find a partner, reach out to them, be loud, and do it. So do it again and again, do it, and then tell me what happened. You can reach out to me here, and I'd love to know how many of you got responses to the text you sent out and what kind of support you're getting. And if there's someone in my network or me personally that can support you to get to that next step in your dream life, ask for it. It's very important. Thank you very much.
Oh my, Ali, that was absolutely inspiring. Thank you so much for that profound presentation. Honestly, I'm kind of blown away. Like you have so much like overwhelming ambition. Like that first like journey to the mountain with just €100 and a dream. Like that's just it's unbelievable, honestly. Like just having that much like what is it, tenacity? Like a bit of foolhardiness too. Like you have to be, but like it's just having that much faith in yourself. I think it's one of the like most key things to achieving your dreams. Like the amount of lessons we can gain from like what you've just said is just incalculable. Just putting faith in yourself, having ambition, having dedication, having that sort of willpower, having that willingness to reach out to others. I think that was the main thing too. Because like I feel having a positive mindset on what you can do is absolutely essential. And having that willingness and that those ideas, that perspective on what you want to change, those dreams, it's so key and crucial. But I think the most important thing is wondering, like, how do we start on our journey towards changing things? If we really want to change things, we need more than just a dream. We need that sort of dedication, that sort of ambition, that sort of drive for change. We need a start, you know, because a journey is like it's everything we're building on. It's everything, but we need to get started on that. And I think all the lessons you said there were perfect in how people are supposed to start, like reaching out to others who can help you, even doing like a song and dance and just getting, you know, intention, invigoration, getting other like-minded people to join you on this journey towards true fulfillment, towards true change. I think it's incredible. And I think it's the right way to go about it, honestly. Um, like I'm still overwhelmed, like 100. And you just emailed all of these people. Honestly, like there's a reason I was blown away at the start. Like you're just such an incredible person, honestly. Yeah, after this, I think I'm gonna start emailing the prime ministers, you know, like set up a few meetings.
Listen, the worst that can happen is they don't respond to you, right? It's not illegal or a crime to talk to a prime minister. People don't think about it, and use that as a foolishness. I like that when we were young, we have this foolishness of not knowing enough, and we go out and try things, and that's so amazing. Because as you grow older and older, and maybe those amongst us who are a bit older in the work life, maybe area if you're still around, you'll realize we put firewalls around us. We restrict ourselves for so much, and we can't do this. But why?
Sometimes it's better to be a bit ridiculous, Like some of these ideas are like they can be just like ridiculous. Just going out into the town square, just talking to people about what you want to do, or just doing something so like outrageous or just so outside the box, But I think that's what ambition is. Ambition is thinking outside the box. Ambition is trying to push yourself towards something different. Because if we try the same old tired avenues and we try the same old methods to change the world, they're not going to work. Because that's keeping things the same, and that's the antithesis to change. So I think everything you said there is perfect. Because that's what change is. We're trying to change things, So sometimes we need to think a bit bolder, a bit more like, foolish, creative. They're just different sides of the same coin. So I think what you said was a beautiful perspective on how we can actually make our dreams come true. Honestly. So thanks so much for that, honestly. And if you don't mind, I'd love to share a few questions that our fellows have posed to you. I think some of them are really impassioned, so I'd love to see what you think about them.
No, absolutely, go for it. I just want to disclaim, I know I talked a bit longer than I should have, so we're mindful of time, but I'm happy to stick around for an extra 10 minutes to answer as many questions as I can support. To go for it.
Of course. Thanks so much for that, honestly. And thanks for speaking a bit over, too. It was overwhelming just listening to you speak. I can't imagine less 10 minutes. Thank you. So I have a question here, which says, how do you differentiate between temporary excitement and your real purpose? The why might be right, but it won't just work when you start working on it, even though you have the right people involved. This is a question from God Knows. Thank you.
That's a beautiful question. Really, really wait. So just to make sure I've got the gist of it. The question is around how do you differentiate between your initial excitement and like the actual big why, right? How can you really know that this is the right purpose? Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay. So this is look a lot, and this is the problem with our generation. When I say our, I say Gen Z. Because now in the generation we're distracted really easily. We have like 30-second sort of fulfillment dopamine hits, and then we move on to the next big thing. Right. We look at the trend, we look at the fad. This the way to do it, and it's easy. It's going to be very, very absurd what I say. But it's also very difficult. You just have to sit down with yourself and write down. Start putting your thoughts here, grab a pen and write them down. This is so important. I know it's crazy. You can type it out. You can use an iPad. We have technology. No, write it down. Start writing down your why. Write down everything that excites you, that you'll be interested in. I put it all down. Two things, because our brain is such a wonderful creature that it is lazy. It wants to be lazy. And at the same time, it wants to be excited and excited all the time. It wants extreme feelings, but it doesn't want to do the hard work. But you know that there is hard work needed to do that. So when you start writing things down, everything that excites you, you will start seeing things that actually are exciting and those that are not. Start crossing them out then. Go out there, try it. It doesn't work. If you really think there is no alignment to it, you will realize. But really, to know your big purpose and differentiate it from a short-term excitement, you have to feel your gut. You have to feel you really when you have a bigger purpose and you realize, hey, this is your calling, this is your why. Every being of you would literally fire you up when you talk about it. People will come to you and tell you, hey, Lorenzo, I can see how much difference you want to make for human rights in the world. I can see what you're doing. I'm inspired by it. How can I help? That's when you know you've hit your why. You really feel like there is a fire within you, and that's so important. A temporary excitement will come and go. It's a bit of like a fad. But with our generation, there's an issue because we have so much information, so much overload. We're always distracted and we're looking for the next big thing. That's why I recommend writing things down. So you should go out there and try and write whatever it is that excites you, and then start shortlisting from there and talk to people. Ask your friends, ask your parents, hey, what do you think is my superpower? What do you think I'm really good at? Right? You after you talk to a certain amount of people that know you, ask the teachers, ask the managers, your supervisors, your mentees, your brother, your nephew, you'll see a pattern. When you start noticing that pattern, you'll realize, hey, this is a similarity across it. This is my superpower. This is what I can do good. And this is what I can relate with to go out there and get a purpose and make the impact I need. And that's how you differentiate through short-term excitement. Because if it's short-term excitement, trust me, this process, you'll stop halfway. You won't even get through it. But when you're really researching and really diving in and asking people the question and then writing it down and then going out there to try it, and you realize, and you don't have that feeling of a fire within you, that is not your why. That is a short-term excitement. So your why is something not only that excites you, but people around you will literally tell to your face, hey, what you do is amazing. Like just speaking about it, I can see how passionate you are. And you will hear this. A lot of you would have heard this when you, and you maybe not have thought it. That is your why. That is you as a person. That's the smile you bring in this world. And that's the impact you will make.
That's
I
so
hope that
invigorating.
answered the question.
Sorry. Do you remember when that excitement first hit you? When you first felt that fire within?
So, yeah, I think so to be honest, the word impact and making a big difference and the concept of why, at least they were not familiar to me, at least until 3 years ago, I would say. Until 3 years ago, I didn't really know them enough. I was doing it all my life, right? I've been building for the last 9 years. I started when I was 16. And now 24. I've been doing it but only until 3-4 years ago did I understand these terms. But I knew there was a fire within me, and I think the first time was it was around the age. It's got to be around 7 or 8. Like I wanted to get out and do something. Like I said, I literally my attendance at school was like 28%. They would kick me out because I would be out of class. I would be out of class trying to do something, build something, or sell CDs or DVDs just to do, I wanted to try things out. I thought there was more to life than just reading textbook or sitting down. I wanted to push, and see what are the boundaries and what we can do as humans and what we can do as kids. So I think the first time was very young. I was very young when I felt that, hey, I feel there's a bigger purpose out there. It's way bigger than me. And a lot of us are just too distracted to realize, and too like kind of self-focused to realize life is way more beautiful if you really go out there and do and try stuff. And that's really what it was for me, at a very young age. But over the years, I learned the terms, but I was doing it and I started connecting the dots with the different ways. I realized the nature was important, the tech was important, the human was important, and you have to kind of find the right balance between them.
All right. Honestly, thanks so much for that. Like, it's so incredible how you followed your fascinations, even like sneaking into lectures. Like, do you remember what subjects you were going to? Because
Yeah. So
like
I
just
think
knowing what fascinates you from such a young age, And even though you didn't go to like some classes, you were also like, wait a minute, this is so interesting. I want to see this at the highest echelon, I haven't, yeah.
Absolutely. I think the subject, so quantum physics was one that really stays with me. I don't know why I sat in that class. I would not go back again. But my
Adrian,
dad's a quantum
particle physics.
physicist, and I just wanted to see what he taught and what he did. And yeah, but it was like one and the 2 times, and then I was like, this is not for me. And I think another interesting one that I really, really enjoyed was pottery. I joined pottery in one semester, and I did a lot of that, and it was very fun. It was very, very fun. But sometimes I would also just do like carpentry, a lot more hands-on stuff. Particle maths was another thing that I did, mathematics based on particle physics and whatnot. That's the one that I really think were unique. But a lot around psychology, organizational stuff, from professors that really stood out.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that. honestly inspirational. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you one more question. But yeah, one more
Go for
question
it.
from Henry. Henry had a sort of question around his project and how he wants to develop it. He said, I have an NGO where we host outreaches to different communities and give things like food stuff to others. My main problem is that it's not registered, making seeking for funds more difficult as it'll be thought as a scam. So he's doing like an independent project for like solely based on his own passion here. And he said, also, I sometimes feel this project isn't big enough as I want and desire it to subscribe to the United Nations SDGs. What do you suggest I do? So it seems like he has a project and he has that ambition and he has that drive and he has some connections for it. It's just he can't get it to the level he wants to go to. What would you recommend for him?
Mhm. Right. Henry, so what you're facing is quite similar to a lot of people in the early stage of building. And it's always a challenge, right? When you're just an idea or a concept, or you have a little bit of traction but not too much, to bring on big players. So the key usually, and it's two. We'll go back to step two. Is what is it that your NGO does that is different to other NGOs? Right. Find the key differentiator. See how you. If there isn't one, that's okay. It's time to start creating one. See what you can do to differentiate what your NGO does to others. Right. Your scale of how many customers or how many people you're supporting, how much funds you're raising right now is not the most important one. What is important is what is different. It could just be something as simple as, I don't know, instead of doing charity galas to raise money, you plant trees, or you get TikTokers to make a meme video or something. You start a trend, and that's how you get noticed. Sounds crazy, but it's really, you have to stand out, right? And this early stage, you have to really differentiate, find the USP. You can do it a couple of ways. One is, again, see what is your why, what is your big five, what are the five top things that you do, that your NGO does that is so important, and then go out there and find the right people that have either of those five things, and then you have to communicate with them. So your marketing should be targeted to them, your outreach should be targeted to them, your commercialization should be, distribution should be targeted to these people. Once you understand what kind of persona these people have that understand and resonate with your NGO, you can start getting that traction faster, right? Now you say right now you're afraid United Nations might not be interested in supporting, but have you reached out to them? Have you even talked to them? Did you text them? Did you write a personalized handwritten email for them? What is it you did to try and get them on board? If you've done all of that plus more, then I think it would make sense to say that. But if you've not even tried that, try that first, right? And if all of that is done and you still fail, then United Nations is not the maybe perhaps right person to support you at this stage. There are other NGOs out there, there are other fellowships, there are other investors, other grant holders, governments that could help you get there. All you have to do is very simply niche down your big five for your company as well. The big five don't just apply to you. Your big five should apply to everything you do. The people you work with, the companies you do, and those are the big people, the people you want to bring on board, the partners you want to bring on board. So I think this would be kind of the barrier you have right now. I would start by just reaching out to the United Nations saying, be very frank at the stage you're at of what you want to achieve. Be very humble with your numbers on where you want to get to with the NGO and what is the gap. And then ask for very specific help. Be very specific the kind of support you need, whether that's for United Nations or for someone else. The more specific you are, the better it is. When I get messages by someone saying, hey, they love what I do and want to learn it, I mean, I could sit down for hours and talk about it, but none of that's going to help. If you ask me something more specific, I know you've done the research. I'm more likely to respond to you. Right. So I hope this is one action point they can take already to get to that step, Henry. I like the sound of what you're doing. You can drop me a line. If you give a really specific question, happy to try and answer that.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Ali. I have another question if you'd like to answer it, or would you like to give some final remarks?
Let's go for one more question. Can do it.
Lovely. All right. So I have a question here which says, fundraising becomes a challenge for many of our projects. As much as it is difficult to build connections to such organizations, it is equally difficult to maintain those relations to receive funding. What are some reflections you can share in regards to different stages of fundraising?
Really great question. So a few things. Fundraising is tough. Right now, we're kind of in an economy where typical venture capital investment or VC investment is reducing, and they want you to actually really make a difference. So you need to have a really good USP. As an investor, what do we look out for? We look out for two things. Can I get a 10x return on investment, right? Which might sound harsh, might sound tough, but that is just what it is, right? Now, there's still investment out there. There is money, but there's also a lot of grants you can tap into. Start by looking into, for people like you, impact investors. Don't look at typical investment. Look at investors that define or identify themselves with impact. They're literally a whole term, and society and communities around impact investment. Impact investors are more likely going to be suited to what the work you're doing, right? That's one of the things you want to reach at. Grants, start with grants. There's so many government grants out there, from United Nations, from European Horizon to, I open know all around the world, but there are thousands. There's a lot of directories out there. You could just list down. You can reach out to, World Health Organization if your project is around health. There are grants out there where people are just, government is just willing to give away money for you to do something. The first stage for your project, especially in the impact, is grants. You want to start with grants before you bring on investors. Once you have grants, you will then have enough money to be able to build a project or product, get enough traction that you can start attracting investors, right? What you need to do from the early stage already right now is reach out to these grant institutions and also reach out to the impact investors and tell them what you want to do and how you're doing it, and ask them, first ask them if they're willing to fund you. Maybe you're at a stage already, they'll fund you. If not, ask them, what is the gap? What do you need to get there? What would they need to see? Most of the time, you'll get really good feedback on what is the gap you need to do, and then you need to fill that in, right? So depending on different stage, if you raise, seed funding, then it's way easier, right? But if you're raising pre-seed funding or angel round, your first area investment, things are a bit tougher because you need to really show a differentiation. You need to have a big market for what you do. Now, in the impact space, people still don't understand that. If you're working in the space to create, for social good or social justice, there isn't enough, unfortunately, out there, an investment that would focus on it. But there's some really good philanthropists, family offices. These are the terms you need to be looking for that can help you out. It's a really good organization that can help you out, right? But throughout, maintaining relationships was the second part. Throughout this whole journey, you should send them updates. People that could potentially invest in you or are interested or you reached out to once, keep a directory. You can use Notion, a very good CRM system. You can use Salesforce to pay. To hell, you can use Excel. Very cool. Every organizational tool in the world is based on Excel. So you can use Excel, put down the names of people you have, put down what they like, go to their LinkedIn, and then when you send them messages, follow up and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm at this stage now. Would love your feedback. Send like monthly or by quarterly or bi-quarterly updates on what you're doing, and this is how you maintain relationship with all of them. When you do that, they will feel included, they will see a difference, and they will remember you. Visibility is so important. So the idea of being loud is to be visible, right? So you don't want to just send spam. You want to send actual data on the work you're doing. Don't just say, hi, still fundraising. Are you giving money? Don't do that. Send them actual updates on what you're doing. What is the impact? What's the difference? What's different between last time you talked to them, right? This is how you maintain a relationship. So it's a very simple process. You just need to practice a template, create one that you can update every time, every 2 months, every 3 months, every quarter, that you can send to them to maintain a relationship. But start with family offices, grants, philanthropists. There's so many of them. There is 776. That's a very good one that I know of. It's based in the US, but they pretty much take people from all around the world. I think the Thiel Fellowship also focuses on the social good now, from what I know, by Peter Thiel. Can't think all of them from the top of my head, but you all have Google at hand. You'll do just as good research as I could do, I use Perplexity AI. It's a very good AI tool, not ChatGPT, but it actually gives you sources. You can ask for funding in your region, in your area, and talk to governments. I think this is very important to the different sectors of funding, and realize what you need. If you need 100K, ask for 100K. Don't say I need 1 million. If you also go in with the unrealistic, wish, you're gonna get unrealistic answers as well. So you have to be very clear. This requires a lot of sitting down, doing ugly finances, doing the boring work on Excel, just so you can understand what is the return you'll get and what do you need the money for.
Perfect. Yeah, it's just about like really having the initiative, and just the spark to really go and ask these people for help. So honestly, I think that's a perfect place to end it off on. Ali, if you have any like final advice, I'd love to pass it over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I can take something from that last question and add and put it as a final remark is if you're looking for funding, because I know we talked about getting paid for it, three main things any investor is looking at for whether they're grants, VC, family offices, or whoever, even your partner, people you might have texted today. Why you? Why now? And why this? Have 2 or 3 lines for each of them. Have it saved with your contact information and share that with people when you reach out to them. If you can define why you are a good fit to make this project happen, why this needs to happen, and why does it need to happen now? Why not 5 years from now? Or why not 5 years ago? This is exactly what we're looking for in the early stage to see, hey, there is traction. This guy is a good fit to make it happen. And this is a good project, which is going to have a good return. Right? So everything you do in life, not just investment. I learned this from investors, but everything you do in life, why you, why now, why this? You know the why. You define the big 5. Now you need to partner up. You find those partners that are good fit. Now you need to know why you, why now, why this, and then you just rinse and repeat. Once you really repeat, iterate, fail, learn, you're taking an action. You will make it happen. I hope, and I really hope, I think we're at the technology with ChatGPT that you don't have to write 584 letters. But if you have to, there's no harm in that. It was such a fun process. Gamify your life and make fun out of it, because that's what's beautiful about life. So I just want to take, the last few seconds to say thank you very much, really, for having me and for listening. I hope I could add a bit of value to what you're doing, and know that you guys, just by knowing what impact is and dedicating your life to being involved in this Millennium Fellowship and becoming the fellows here and getting the support you need, you're already on the right track. And that's what's going to make all the difference 5 years from now. You're going to look back and be like, whoa, that was a great step. So congratulations to you, and wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thanks so
I know a lot of you are asking for my profile again and again, so I'm just going to pull this up here just so you can see it.
Thanks so much for that, Ali. You were a pleasure and an inspiration. But yeah, I hope perfect. Thanks for sharing your profile too. I know after that, so many people want to contact you with their own invigorating ideas.
Thank you very much again. Really, really, really helpful. And just to let you know, I will only respond to those people that tell me what happened if they send the text in. Because then I'll know if you actually listened to the talk or just showed up.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Ali.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thanks,
Thank you
Lorenzo. Thanks, MCN team. Really, really appreciate it. It's beautiful what you guys have set up, and happy to be a little part of it.
Perfect. Thanks for that again. I'd like to thank every Millennium Fellow who joined us on this invigorating talk. This was such an engaging webinar. I really appreciate every single person who came here, and I hope you obviously all got some amazing insights from this. So thanks for everyone who showed up. There's an upcoming webinar on Monday with Emily Scott, another invigorating innovator, if anyone wants to go to that one. And I'd just like to thank everyone so much for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lorenzo, and thank you, Ali, from the team. I truly appreciate it. What an outstanding webinar. Just want to clarify, the webinar coming up with Emmy is actually this Friday and not next Monday. We do have